In this video, we're going to talk about how your mindset, much more than your age, education, or previous experience, can impact your ability to learn new technologies. Before we begin, I'd like to start by sharing my experience learning something completely new, running a business. About 2 years ago, I left a 13-year career in higher education administration to start a company. I had no formal business training, no MBA, and nothing to really prove to myself that I could do this. I was determined yet terrified. So in order to get past my fear and start taking action, I started by teaching myself and getting as much information as I possibly could about how to be successful in business. I registered for small business seminars, went to networking events, found mentors, read books, and watched dozens of webinars. Little by little, I was able to take some baby steps. I registered with the Secretary of State, bought business insurance, built a little website, and set up an accounting spreadsheet. With each baby step I took and each small thing I accomplished, I slowly gained the confidence I needed to continue to move forward through my fears. Today, I can already look back and see the hundreds of baby steps I've taken to develop a successful and thriving business. Each small win has helped me to take the next managed risk. And even though I still get scared sometimes, I'm able to continue moving forward because I believe in myself and I've proven to myself that I'm capable of running a business. Maybe you can relate. Have you ever challenged yourself to try something new? At first, it is scary and intimidating. What if I fail? What if I look ridiculous? I have found the best way to reduce my own fears is by breaking things down into bite-sized pieces. This is the goal of Triumph Over Technology. The more we can break down complex technology into simple operations, the better you'll be able to take baby steps forward. With each small win, you'll build the confidence to take more risks, learning more in the process. Success in learning a new skill has very little to do with age or educational background. In my experience, it has much more to do with how you view your own ability to learn and your beliefs about the information itself. Unfortunately, many of us are confronted with a rush of negative emotions when we think about trying something new. Some common feelings associated with learning a new tech skill include anxiety. Will I mess up? Fear. Am I vulnerable? Are people going to be making fun of me? Isolation. Everyone else is using that app. Am I the only one who isn't? Self-deprecation. I am so stupid. I'm never going to get it. Resistance. I really don't want any of this. Why can't things just be the way they used to be? These feelings are very real and can keep us from taking the baby steps we need to take in order to experience the small wins and build our confidence. To help you with this, I want to introduce you to something that I developed called the Ability Mindset Matrix. Understanding where you fall within this matrix is going to give you a valuable tool for self-reflection. The Ability Mindset Matrix combines a measurement of two basic ideas, your self-concept and the orientation of your mindset. Let's define each of those now. Self-concept is a collection of beliefs, assumptions, and expectations that you have about yourself, including your inner nature, abilities, experiences, skills, and values. Keep in mind that this is not about facts, but about the story we've developed about ourselves over many years based on a lifetime of emotional reactions to our life experiences. For example, you may have a belief that you are bad at computers, even though you use one on a regular basis and are able to accomplish the majority of your tasks without any trouble. This is an example of a limiting belief, which could contribute to a negative self-concept with regards to technology. On the other hand, you might believe you are good at cooking, which means that even if you burn the food once or twice, you know you're capable of trying new recipes and cooking meals for your family. This is an example of a positive self-concept with regards to cooking. Now let's look at the orientation of your mindset. According to researcher Dr. Carol Dweck, there are two main mindsets or lenses a person can use to judge their own potential and abilities, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes their character, abilities, intelligence, personality traits, and even their potential are static and will never change in any meaningful way. Such people believe you're basically born the way you are, smart or not, talented or not. And although you can make small improvements, you're never really going to be very different in the future than you are today. So, even though you can learn new things, there's no sense in taking on too great a risk when it comes to trying something new, because intelligence is fixed. It's more likely that you'll fail and experience humiliation in trying to be something you're not. Ultimately, it's better to spend your efforts on areas of proven success so that you can reinforce those areas and further improve on what you already know. On the other hand, a person with a growth mindset believes the traits they have today are just a starting point, something that's constantly in flux, and that a person's basic qualities can be improved through intention and effort. People with a growth mindset believe their potential is something that's unknown, and so they're more oriented towards learning and taking risks in order to discover the limits of their own potential. Now, putting these two ideas together, we get the ability mindset matrix. On the x-axis is the orientation of your mindset, growth or fixed. On the y-axis is your self-concept, positive or negative. As we look at these two concepts as an overlapping framework, we get a better understanding of why some people feel that they're not good with technology, and others feel really confident about trying. Let's take a closer look at each quadrant. The fixed mindset and negative self-concept quadrant is what I like to call the curmudgeon. I'm never going to learn this stupid thing anyway, and I really hate this, and every time I try to use the computer it breaks, so why do I even try? Does this sound like anyone you know? Maybe you've said a few of these things at some point yourself. When a person is experiencing life as the curmudgeon, they become very negative about themselves as a learner and negative about technology. This is because they see the world of technology as something so immense and intimidating. If they want to learn computers, they have to start from Windows 95 and work their way up, and they're never going to do that. They also don't believe they're capable of learning something so new. It's just too far out of their comfort zone. So every time they try and experience a small technical problem, their ego is smashed, and they confirm their own minds how bad they are with computers. This is not a fun place to be. The next quadrant is the fixed mindset and positive self-concept. I like to call this one the manual reader. This person might say, learning takes a lot of work, but I can do it if I really try hard. Oftentimes the manual reader starts out optimistic. They buy a new computer or device and dig right into the owner's manual. They might even get a few extra books at the library to help them get started. Unfortunately, when it comes to learning technology, what often follows is a lot of frustration. They think, this is so hard. I have read all these books and I follow all these instructions. It says here on page 38 to click this button, but it's not working. I probably don't have the right book for the newest version of this program anyway, so now I have to go back to the store and get the newer For Dummies book and start all over again. What often happens is this person ends up giving up. It just becomes too overwhelming. Even though they really want to learn and they believed in themselves, it just becomes too much. One thing the curmudgeon and the manual reader have in common is that both of them are too focused on specifics. Remember in segment 2, we talked about strategy over specifics. Those who tend towards a fixed mindset are not really seeing the strategies they need to try in order to be successful. Instead, they're too worried about the exact buttons they need to click and the exact processes they need to follow in order to move forward. Because technology is constantly changing, this approach just isn't working. Now let's take a look at the right side of the framework, those who are oriented towards a growth mindset. We'll start with a growth mindset and a negative self-concept. That's what I like to call the wallflower. This person says to themselves, it looks like people are having a lot of fun with technology. I wish I were smart enough to learn it too. I know that it's possible for other people to do it, I just can't do it. This person knows that the world is not so black and white. There are lots of possibilities and many ways to learn something new. Unfortunately, with a low self-concept, the wallflower just doesn't see themselves as capable enough to do it themselves. You can imagine that person standing on the sidelines, watching everyone else take risk and enjoy themselves. But fear of failure is just too great for the wallflower to give it a try. It's better to just accept their place on the outskirts of the scene. Finally, let's take a look at the last quadrant, which is a growth mindset and positive self-concept. This is what I like to call the chef. Why a chef? Think about it. When a person learns to cook, they start by trying some easy dishes first, maybe some scrambled eggs or a little pasta. Then they work up to something a bit more complicated. All the while, they're testing, trying, adding a little salt, a little pepper. Over time, when they've mastered the basics, they start to play around with their own ideas. What about a little smoked paprika in those eggs? Maybe I can try to make pasta sauce from scratch. At some point, they decide they want to become a chef. So, what do? Start cooking their way through every cookbook they can find? Of course not. They focus on universal skills they can apply to any recipe. They learn the techniques and processes, not the recipes. The chef knows that their skills are improving with each new dish they try. They also don't take their failures personally. If the dish doesn't turn out right, they take a closer look and find out where things went wrong. Then, they make whatever small adjustments are needed the next time. No big deal, just another opportunity to learn something new. I'm sure you can guess which character would be the best at learning new technology, right? The chef, of course. The chef has enough faith in their skills in general to attempt to cook any new recipe. They also know that there's really no right way to cook anything. That's why you can Google banana bread and get dozens of different recipes. It's really the same with learning new technology. Once you've figured out that the back button takes you to your last page, the X button closes a window, and the undo button, well, undoes, you can start clicking a bit more. Also, you're not going to break it, really. Now that I've provided you with the Ability Mindset Matrix, take a moment and think about where you see yourself within this framework. Whether you can relate more to the curmudgeon, or the wallflower, or the manual reader, the goal of Triumph Over Technology is to help you get closer to the chef. I'll provide you with plenty of opportunities for small wins that will boost your confidence. I'll also show you that you don't have to start from square one in order to learn something new. In fact, you just have to start with whatever is right in front of you. Congratulations, you've now completed Module 1, Preparing for Success. In Module 2, we'll cover all the different ways you can keep in touch with those you love in the digital age. I hope you're ready to play with all those buttons on your phone. See you soon.